Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Wanted to let you know what is coming up right out of the gate. Apparently that's what podcasts are supposed to do, and we only want to do what podcasts are supposed to do, right, Bob?
Yes, we're barely podcasters.
So today on Barrett and Baxa Media, Schmedia, I have at least a bone to pick with President Trump because I have a feeling that he just did something that's going to bring back one of the worst shows. I can't stand it. One of the worst reality shows ever. And I'm not talking about The Apprentice here. So you're going to find out what that... It's not The Kardashians and it's not The Apprentice. But man, I'm really, really worried at this point. We're also going to talk about one news network that thought that they were revamping their whole lineup only to see it self-destruct in the first week. We're going to tell you all about that. Ladies, Michelle Obama says that she knows what all your lady parts are all about, and apparently it's not about making babies. So we're going to find out what that is all about. And apparently the man code talker from Minnesota, where I live, didn't work out so well. So Democrats need now to do something that they always do when they run into a big problem, and that is throw all their money at it.
Waste money,
Waste money. That's what they're going to do. So all that coming up right now on Barrett and Baxa.
Welcome to Barrett and Baxa Media Schmedia. Everyone else has a podcast, why not us? Come along and join the chosen few as we mock the media and ridicule the ridiculous. Get ready as we excite the ears, irritate the eyes, and tantalize the taste buds. Okay, maybe not the taste buds, but you get the point. Let's get the party started. Here's Steve Barrett and Bob Baxa.
All right, another shot at that killer open with with Bobby and his cartoon version that he has more complaints about. But first, I want to shout out to Rico Monaco. That's the music that you hear in the background. Rico Monaco, an excellent guitarist and friend of mine, really just an excellent musician and a producer. In fact, he has a music school that I want to tell you about right now. It's called Rickman Music School, and you can get him online. Rico can actually teach you how to play guitar, and he would love to do it. So if you want to learn how to play guitar, you can do it in person if you're in the Orlando area. He's a great guy, but you can also do it online, and his website is Rickman, Ricmon musicschool.com. So go check that out. I want to point that out right out of the gate. But the next thing is apparently Bob has another problem.
I have a shout out for a young man I love very much. His name is Keaton Turnbow. He is a young man I met. Yes, I met him when he was 12 years old. I was dating his mother for a number of years, and things romantically did not work out between she and I. We're great friends. I love her. I think she's an awesome woman. And Keaton and I have actually stayed in touch over the years. His father died when he was a young kid, so he had a tragedy in his life, and I tried to be somewhat of a father figure to him. I don't know how good I did, but we stayed in touch. And loved the guy, and he's a fan of Barrett and Baxa. And he's only 20. I think he's going to be 21 this year. So he is at the low end of our demographic. We have people from 20 to 90. I mean, we cover everyone on the Barrett and Baxa. So shout out to my good friend Keaton Turnbow.
We love doing the shout outs because like you said, everybody likes to find themselves in a picture, in a group picture, and people love to hear about themselves on podcasts. So that's awesome. Right. But one thing that you didn't want to shout out about is apparently your eyes are the wrong color in the cartoon version.
Yeah, what's up with that? I have blue eyes, right?
I keep screwing it up.
Oh man, I'm falling apart. Physically, it's horrible. I mean, the one thing I hate about the podcast is that I thought I had finally arrived. I'm 59. I figured I had arrived at a point, I used to have to put makeup on every day, and I would actually have to care about my physical appearance, and I thought those days were over. And now here I find myself once again having to care about my physical appearance. But the one thing I do have going for me still, as the rest of my body falls apart, is I have such beautiful, gorgeous blue eyes. So I want I want my cartoon character to reflect the incredible beauty of my blue eyes. So please get that fixed immediately.
I will. I promise. I'm going to try to get it fixed by the next episode. But you know me, I'm slow and I get distracted.
Right.
And in my old age, I can't remember very well. So.
Yes, we are both very old.
Yeah.
So it's funny how ages you once thought, I remember thinking when I was in college, and my mother, when I started college, my mother was 39, my father was 44, and I thought they were old. When I was in college, I thought my parents were old, and now I think of 40-year-old people as young children.
I know
that young kid, he's only 40.
Yeah.
It's funny how your thing changes.
Age is just a number, as they say.
Yeah, that's
right?
bullshit. Age is not just a number.
Well, Bob, you might have noticed I'm not.
Yeah, where are you?
I'm not at my house. I'm in a hotel, and I want to give my first shout out to Lynn, who is going to be our next Barrett and Baxa viewer, listener.
Okay.
She works the front desk, and she helped me out by getting me in touch with the right person to reserve a conference room at this hotel in sunny Mission Viejo. Can you read that on my chest there? Mission Viejo. It's very cold in here, so I have to have my jacket on. But
tell our fans, why would you possibly be in California? What is there?
California.
Some sort of event going on or something?
There is an event. There is an event that we're going to talk about briefly, and it's a funny event. It's a 1-year-old's birthday party. It's my second grandson, son of my daughter Julia. Yes,
love Julia.
And first birthday parties for kids are really not for the kid. I mean, they are. And I'm going to show you some pictures in just a second. But, Bob, you said that really the kid's not going to remember it. All you want is, like, the picture.
Right. You want a picture of the kid sitting in front of a cake and he's with his face, like his hands smashed into the cake and cake all over his face. And then Julia will show that picture when he's like 12 to embarrass him, or when he's 15 or something. And of course, the kid's 1. He has no clue what's happening. Basically, you're celebrating 1 year of keeping your child alive is what you're basically saying. Like, look, we kept this child alive for 1 year. So it's really the birthday aspect of it. You could do it any day. I mean, just tell the kid. What does he know? He has no idea.
Right.
So, but it's wonderful that you have grandchildren. I love that about you. That's great.
Well, I am going to, in fact, do something for you real quick.
Okay.
Can you see my screen there, Bob?
Yeah.
Because I want to show you this little guy.
Oh, that's what I was talking about.
There he is. That's exactly what you were talking about. So we'll embarrass him right out of the gate. He won't know that all of his life. He'll grow up. He'll be like 10, and he'll say, "What? I was on an episode of Barrett and Baxa when I was little. What is the internet? A podcast? What is that? Look at how cute he is. Look at him go.
He's very cute.
What a kid.
Look at that kid
and then,
with his blonde hair and blue eyes.
And then we threw him out into the bounce house with his buddy Brody. Brody is not happy with Brody right now in the bounce house. Brody won't let him go, but eventually they all cheered up, and they had a very nice afternoon. So good.
Your mood can go from happy to extremely irritated in very quickly.
Look at these two cuties. Yeah. 2 little California boys, born and raised in California. You know, my grandfather's from this area, Orange County, Laguna Beach. So it's weird that my grandson, like 3 generations later, is back living in Orange County, in the same county that parts of my family grew up in.
Well, that's very cool. Tell Julia I said I love her and I miss her, and
I will do that.
Congratulations on her wonderful son. That's amazing.
I will do that. Yep. So Loretta Swit died this week.
I know.
Unfortunately. Yeah, Hot Lips Houlihan. No, I don't think they do. I don't think that they do. But it made me get to thinking about something from my past, because believe it or not, my mother is kind of the real life Hot Lips Houlihan. Let me explain this to you. Right. So I come home from high school one day with my friend Matarango, the late Matarango. He passed away. But anyway, so we arrive home from high school one day at the condos where we live in St. Petersburg, Florida. And my mom is sitting at the pool, as she often was doing. She's sitting at the pool. This is not at the nudist colony, but this is a different this is not at the nudist colony. A lot of people know my mom lives in a nudist colony. Yes, is a nudist. So she's sitting there, and as we approach, she's talking to some person that we don't know. She's sitting right next to him on a lawn chair, and as I get closer, I think to myself, and I turn to my buddy Matt, and I'm like, is that Ferret Face from MASH? Is that Frank Burns from MASH? Sure enough, Larry Linville, the guy who plays Frank Burns on MASH, who obviously was in the relationship with Hot Lips Houlihan, Loretta Swit, who just passed away, and he's sitting there with my mom talking, And they had met because he was doing a play at a playhouse right across the street from our condos, and they would put the star of the show up in a condo at our complex. So my mom meets him. My mom proceeds to date him on and off for many, many years. So he sort of, in a way, became a part of my family. And so when Loretta Swit died this week, I thought, oh my gosh. Now, Larry, I call him Larry. A lot of people refer to him as Frank Burns because that's the character they know.
Right.
But Larry passed away some years ago, but I think very fondly of that guy. He's super nice guy. In fact, he picked me up and dropped me off at a job interview for a TV job in Tampa once, many years ago. Yeah. Didn't end up getting the job, but thanks, Larry.
Nice. All right, cool.
All right, let's get on to the media schmedia parts of it.
Yes.
First thing we wanted to talk.
Week.
Oh, a lot happened this week. I know sometimes, Bob, we put it in our text thread and then we cannot get to everything. No. So then we spend about the last 2 hours before we record the show. We start chopping things out of it frantically, trying to figure out.
The Democrats give us too much. Every week they give us way too much to talk about.
Yeah.
They are crazy.
The thing I think we wanted to talk about first, though, was that we think they could come up with some new slogans that we would love.
Yeah. The Democrat Party, I was saying to you this week, the Democrat Party is exclusively a party of middle-aged white women who are angry at you and they need to yell at you for that thing you did incorrectly. That thing you're doing that wrong. They're very mad at you. Stop doing that. So that is their party at this point. It's just women who are mad at you.
Yeah, that's a good slogan. Women who are mad at you.
Yes,
Democrats.
we're mad at
women
you.
who are mad at you.
And
or it could be
men.
It could be something like, hey, we were going to do that. We were planning on doing that thing that you're doing all along, but we just didn't get to it yet. But now that you got to it before us, we don't think that you're doing it right. You're not doing it the way that we would have done it. Yes. So please stop doing it until we get to do it for the voters.
The slogan could be Democrats. We were just about to do that. Like that could be their new slogan. They are so funny, man.
I know.
Bless them. God bless them.
And so somebody, I forget who it even was, suggested that they spend another $20 million on this SAM thing, which is something about speaking to American men. Yeah. How ridiculous is that?
They're actually I saw something where they want to study the syntax of how men speak. And first of all, most people don't even know what syntax is. I'm kind of know what it is. It's like the structure of sentences, but they're just overthinking this way too much. They're just, everything they do is anti-men. And of course men are going to turn away from them. We've gone over this a million times before. This entire party is women who are mad at men. That's the whole especially the Democrat men. The Democrat men are women who are mad at men. So of course real men are going to turn away from them.
I thought Tim Walz was solved that problem. Was he not the code talker? He was the code talker for white men. So how did that not work?
I don't know. He was supposed to be able to code talk and give men permission to vote for a woman. And somehow that didn't work. So that's very strange. I don't understand. I thought Tim Walz was the answer there.
Yeah, according to my wife, he's in California right now, and he just gave a speech and said some ridiculous things. But I didn't have time to look that up and put it in the show. So we talk enough about Tampon Tim, so we don't really need to talk about Tampon Tim anymore, except for that. But someone we also talk about a lot is Joy Behar, and she had kind of a reaction on The View this week. Or last week, I should say. We're going to drop this on a Tuesday. We're doing the show on a Sunday. It's my daughter's birthday, by the way. It's Julia's birthday, so happy birthday to Julia. So, her son was born one day ahead of her. So,
nice.
Anyway, but I am going to start us out with our first clip, which is going to be from Joy Behar, and it is Joy Behar's thoughts on this whole idea of spending $20 million to try and get men to react to Democrat policies.
Got it.
You want to know what I think? I think it's a waste of money. Maybe these guys should spend their money on teaching men to not be such sexists. Maybe that's
But the stats don't bear that out now that we've seen the election results.
There you go. Joy Behar is an old woman who's mad at you. She needs to yell at you because you're sexist. That's the Democrat
That's exactly what you were saying.
That's exactly it. We are mad at you and you're doing that thing wrong. Let us yell at you.
But the two things come together, Bob, because it's your theory that no young man wants to listen to someone his mother's age because they think that it's their mom just barking at them. So they're going to do the opposite of what that old mom type is doing.
Absolutely true. It's the oldest story in the book. Anyone who knows a 20-year-old man knows that even if he gets along with his mother, he is annoyed by his mother a lot of the time, and he mostly wants to push back against whatever his mother's telling him to do. It's the most natural thing in the world. It's not even weird. It's nothing hard to understand. If your mother says up, you're going to naturally be like, you know what, I want to do down. Like, clearly she's wrong, the stupid woman. And if your mother is this Democrat woman who's pushing these policies, of course you're going to turn away from it. It's the easiest thing in the world to predict.
Seems like human nature.
Yeah, you're not getting men back, Democrats.
So you're not getting men back with Joy Behar. You're not getting men back with Tim Walz.
Right.
So this brings us to our next thing, because Tim Walz tried to be the most masculine guy in America, and they tried to turn the table on masculinity. But Trump did something this week that really bugs me, and it brings me to what I talked about in the open. The worst possible reality show on TV, I always thought was Crisley Knows Best, I think it was called.
I don't know this show. I was reading, you told me about
horrible.
this. I had to go look it up. I don't know who they are.
So it was this family that was supposedly like very wealthy, and they would buy their kids all this stuff, and it was all about, their little wealthy lifestyle. And it was a silly show, but I got to tell you, I don't know how to say this, but this dad, this Crisley guy, he's not the most masculine guy in the world.
Well, when you brought this up to me, you said that you're going to bring this up as a pet peeve. So, and I was like, I have no idea who this Crisley family is. So at that point, I was in my truck. I was making a delivery, so I had time. Go on the internet. I look up the Crisleys. And of course, you can immediately, they're all over the internet. They're very prominent right now. So you could find a lot of stuff about them. And it looked to me like this was an obvious gay man. Now, I'm not saying that he's gay. I'm saying he appears to me to be a gay man. So I don't know what's going on there, but to me, the guy seems like he's gay. But he's apparently heterosexual.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, is he heterosexual?
All I know... Dude, all I know is it's the worst reality show on television. And what happened to them is that they're out there flaunting their wealth. They're telling everyone, look at how rich we are. Look, I bought my kid a car. Look, we're throwing this big party for my kids. All of this stuff. And then they get thrown in prison for tax evasion and bank fraud, which... Okay, I wasn't on the jury. I don't know what actually happened, but this is the way the AP put it in terms of why Trump pardoned these people after they were in prison for 3 years. This is the AP. Trump announced his intention to pardon them on Tuesday, saying the celebrity couple had been given a pretty harsh treatment based on what I'm hearing. And then they go on to say, so that was his quote, and they go on to say it was another example of the president himself, a former reality TV star, pardoning high-profile friends, supporters, donors, and former staffers. So my problem with Donald Trump doing this is that I just think it's a bad image. Like it does look, even to me, someone who I now consider myself mostly conservative, I don't know, man. I don't like the look of him pardoning people because he wasn't on the jury. And then Trump, if he's going to sit back and say, oh, I don't want the court interfering in my business. Well, this to me looks just like Trump interfering in the court's business. What do you think, Bob?
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to take the opposite side just because I want to be a dick. And I'm also wearing my We the People Stand with Trump shirt. So I'm going to say, you know what? I'm fine with it. I do hear what you're saying. It is kind of a bad look to start pardoning people. I have no idea what the facts of this case are. I mean, like, if you want to talk about the January 6th Patriots that got totally railroaded, yes, they should all be pardoned. Absolutely. But I kind of throw this into that same thing. Like, if the left is going to do crazy shit like this is the kind of thing that a leftist governor or president would do, I feel. So I say, why not? Pardon all conservatives. Let's play the same game that they always play, and let's let Trump start pardoning conservatives. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
don't care that much about the Crisleys, to be honest with you.
Well, you didn't know even who they were until I pointed it out.
Right.
But I just don't want the main thing for me. I don't want that reality show back on TV ever again. All right. So moving on from that, let's clank the Grizzlies, just because clanking the Grizzlies would make me feel so good. Okay. All right. So MSNBC tried to revamp their ratings recently. Yeah.
That's not going to work.
Apparently, Rachel Maddow decided she wanted her $20 million a year for doing 1 day a week again.
How is that? How does she get? How does she only work 1 day
I don't
a week?
know.
Honestly, how do you get a job like that?
Well, so apparently, amazing. And no, I didn't know this, but apparently, she agreed to cover Trump's first 100 days.
Yes,
like that. All week, working Monday through Friday. Once the 100 days was over, she was out, and they decided they were going to put Jen Psaki back in her place.
I like to call her
Psaki. Jen Psaki.
Yeah.
Yes, the predecessor to Raggedy Ann, or what did they call her?
Little Orphan Annie.
Yeah, no, they called her Binder. Binder was always her nickname because she always had to refer to the Binder.
Binder is Karine.
Yeah.
Karen Jean Pair is Binder.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that Psaki was before Binder.
Before Binder, gotcha.
But the ratings are horrible, according to the Daily Mail, which is a right-leaning publication, says fresh embarrassment for struggling MSNBC as the new lineup leads to disastrous ratings drop. Apparently, the ratings were cut in half. So I guess Rachel Maddow does draw a lot of viewers. So then Jen Psaki coming in after her. But Jen Psaki's got the other problem. Jen Psaki, even Democrats are to the point where they're like, yeah, everybody in the administration was lying. Right?
Yeah.
About
I don't know everything.
Joe Biden. And that's Jen Psaki too.
Correct. And now and then she lied on TV. I mean, the media has no trust left. The media are as popular as like herpes at this point. Like no one likes them. It's
like when you step in dog shit and you try and take a knife or something to get it all out and you can never get it all out. Like they can't get it all off of their shoe.
No. They cannot. That's a good analogy. There's still a lot of dog shit stuck on the shoe of the mainstream media, and it's not all going to come off. So, yeah, I don't see a good future for MSNBC.
Well, Jen Psaki's going to have to refer back to Wes Mantooth because she apparently failed to crack they call it the coveted 1 million viewer mark.
I saw that.
So, by example, she got 900 something thousand. Sean Hannity on Fox News, that's the top show at the same time slot, 2.3 million viewers.
But here's
the thing. Everybody always talks about the 25 to 54 key demographic, which is, I guess, people that spend money. So that's what TV stations want. She pulled 55,000 viewers in that category in her first week on average, whereas the top show, which would be Sean Hannity over on Fox, had 210,000. So what? That's 4 times as much.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm gonna throw out some numbers. As far as I know, these are correct, but I could swear that in our heyday, first of all, our show the show that we were both on, Daybreak in Orlando on WFTV, was the number one show for it was literally like 35 straight ratings books. And a ratings book is 4 times a year. So you're talking I think it was 9 years of FTV being number one in the morning. And I could swear that we had 65,000 households at 6 a.m. If you figure 4 people per household, that, 4 times 60, that's like 250,000 people a morning in Orlando. And this chick is getting 55,000 nationally.
Right.
I'm pretty sure those numbers are correct. Now, somebody, if you want to write into us and tell me my numbers are way off, but I'm pretty sure those were our ratings on Daybreak.
And please do write into us, barrettandbaxa@gmail.com, or just comment on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, wherever you're getting this podcast. Please, we want your comments, and in fact, we want you to give us some topics and things like that.
And not only that, if you criticize us, we are very, at least I know I can speak for myself, I'm very, very thin-skinned, so if you criticize me, I am going to mention you and argue back. I cannot let it go. I can't let anything go. I hold hold everything inside, and I agonize over it. So if you criticize me, I'm going to talk about you.
You know what I love is that occasionally I'm seeing thumbs down now. So I think people are just giving us a thumbs down because we want a thumbs down. We want to know that we're pissing at least somebody off. I mean, we've got to make somebody mad.
As far as I'm concerned, if someone says, I love Barrett and Baxa, is obviously great. If someone says, I hate them every time I watch that show, it pisses me off, I freaking hate them, that is equally great. The only bad thing is when someone says, I have never heard of that, I know nothing about that show. That sucks. So love and hate are both excellent. We're fine with either one. As long as you're watching. And
I know we have at least one more viewer / listener this week, and that's going to be Lynn from the front desk at my hotel.
Oh, nice. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've got Lynn on board.
All right. What's up next?
All right. I'm going to leave this one to you because this is the kind of thing that really gets you irked. The WNBA stuff. I mean, it just keeps coming on. I mean, hey, good on them. They're getting attention now. WNBA
Yes,
was never getting attention. Tell us what happened, Bob.
Well, so apparently there was obviously everyone knows that the only reason that anyone is even talking about the WNBA is because of this chick, Caitlin Clark, who happens to be white. And the jealous racist jerks of the WNBA, all the black chicks, are enraged. They are enraged that the most popular player by far is a white girl. So there's constant, tension. And it's, anything having to do with race in the United States becomes a gigantic thing. So there was a game, and I have no clue of what the name of nobody does. There's no person that knows the name of a WNBA team. I think I speak for all Americans. We don't know the names of your stupid teams. But whatever the name of the team is that Caitlin Clark plays for was playing some other stupid team whose name I don't know. And Angel Reese. She's a black chick. I think she went to LSU. She's also very well known. She's probably the second most famous women's basketball player. They were playing each other. Caitlin Clark did a very, very normal, it's called a take foul. It's when someone is going to the basket. If you foul them before they start to shoot, it's a different type of foul than if you foul them while they're in the process of shooting, then they get to go to the line and shoot 1-and-1. I think if you foul them before they start shooting, then it's just a possession foul. So it's like a normal thing in basketball that you want to foul them before they start shooting. So Caitlin Clark fouled this chick, the Angel Reese. She got very mad. It turned into an almost fight. It wasn't a fight. It was a basketball fight, which is the two people are I'll kick your ass, and the teammates are holding them back. It was a fake fight. It wasn't a real fight. But What then happened is that the WNBA gets involved. They said there was racist comments, or there was stuff coming from the fans, racism coming from the fans directed at Angel Reese. All right. So the WNBA, everyone puts out a statement. There is no place in our league for this kind of racist behavior. Let me just say right now, I'm going to go on record and explain to you what's happening. There is a crowded, maybe if there's one white person somewhere, would that one white person use the N-word? Yes, probably there's someone that would. In a crowd of people where there are black people, there is no white person screaming the N-word. That's not a thing. That does not happen. That would not happen. And if it did possibly happen, there would be 93 videos from every conceivable angle of the person yelling the N-word. Okay? So the WNBA investigates. Of course, they found nothing because, of course, there was no person yelling the N-word. It's not possible for a person to yell the N-word at a freaking crowded basketball game. So, of course, it was another race hoax, like they all are. And in fact, People are now calling Angel Reese Jussie Smollett Reese.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said the thing about nobody shouting out the N-word. There's also nobody beating up black people in the streets of Chicago with MAGA hats on. But Bob, so even if that wasn't happening, you pointed out that Brittany Griner actually has a problem with any sort of disruption. I'm going to bring this quote up on the screen. I'm going to bring this up, show it to you. Entire screen. Let me go like this. I've got to get my computer right here. But you want to talk about this quote right here.
Yes. The quote is, every time we play her, speaking about Caitlin Clark, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. And that is allegedly a quote said by Brittany Griner. We don't know for sure that she said it, but apparently she was complaining that, and I know for a fact because I saw the video, she did say that a WNBA game used to be a place where you could sit with your laptop and get some work done. And now there's thousands of people and they're yelling at us and they're expecting us to perform. It's very demeaning. So Brittany Griner is upset that there are fans that are paying money to see her. She's a professional basketball
Did she really
player.
said this?
I think she did, but who knows? Maybe it's another hoax.
You've been known to get things wrong before, but I mean, it kind of sounds like the kind of thing that she would say. Very upset that there are any fans out there watching.
Correct. Yeah. So it's just another funny race hoax involving the WNBA and all the drama in the WNBA about Caitlin Clark. It's just jealousy. I mean, she's getting a ton of attention. Now, you would think in any other sort of sport, like when Tiger Woods came into golf, the other golfers, I think, were glad to be getting the extra attention, and they got more money too. When Michael Jordan, came into the NBA and brought a lot of attention with him, I think the other players were happy. But for whatever reason, these other players, and not for whatever reason, for the reason of jealousy, these other players are very mad that Caitlin Clark is getting so much attention. So there you go.
We got in trouble once for giving. Yeah, and we got
sports.
We got in trouble once, remember, for giving too much attention to, I think it was Tiger Woods. We were making way too much noise at a party. Remember?
Oh, right.
This was at the Bay Hill Invitational. Yeah,
right. And they
we'll tell that one of these days. We'll tell that story.
All right, good.
All right, but we'll clank that for now. All right, next up. Apparently 300,000 people are already dead because of Doge. Elon Musk has killed 300,000 people somehow?
Yes.
How did that happen, Bob?
That did not happen, obviously. So this is the latest Democrat hoax of last week. Apparently, where this came from. So this was on MSNBC, I guess. I don't know if we have the clip, but somebody on MSNBC said that Elon Musk is responsible for 300,000 deaths just in the last 3 months, and 200,000 of them are children. And of course, the MSNBC host is like, oh wow, that's a lot of people. And if you think about how utterly ridiculous it is, so apparently this
and they didn't even fact check it. There's no pushback at all.
No, it's accepted.
And I do have the clip. I'll play it here in a moment.
All right. So apparently it came from a guy from, I think, Boston University, a professor. And right off the bat, if I hear that you're a professor at a major university. I'm going to assume you're full of shit. You're a leftist scumbag and you're full of shit. So I assume that about this guy, even though I have no clue who he is. Apparently what he did is he came up with what could happen in the future based on some of the Doge cuts, based on cuts to aid or something, that possibly 300,000 people could die. And of course, the left takes that and turns it into Elon Musk has physically taken a knife and stabbed 300,000 people to death. That's where the story has gone. And apparently Bono repeated this on the Joe Rogan show. And luckily, Joe's kind of on our side now. Joe pushed back quite a bit. And I think Elon put out a tweet.
Who's Bono?
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I bet our young
that goes out to my buddy Jim Wheeler. Who's Bono?
My friend Keaton, the 21-year-old, has no clue who Bono is. If you're 21, you don't know who Bono is. But Bono used to be a rock star many, many decades ago. He was very popular, lead singer of U2. But is your phone
Oh,
ringing
man.
in the middle of a podcast?
Look at this, middle of the
hell
podcast,
is
my
this?
phone's ringing, and I can't
This is
even
not-
find my phone. What
Oh
in the
my
world
God.
is going
This
on
is not
here?
professional.
Well, we're just gonna have to stop it.
All right.
No,
One
we're
of the
not
main-
stopping anything. We're just gonna let the phone ring. This is the first time the phone has rung in the middle of the
I turn
podcast.
off my phone during the podcast. What the
Yeah,
hell
I
is
know.
with you?
All right, you keep talking. I'm gonna turn my phone off.
All right, you go turn your phone off. Steve's an idiot. I think one of the first rules of podcasting is you turn off your cell phone when you start recording. Pretty sure everyone does know that. Hey, you're back. All right.
Did you actually keep talking the whole time?
Yeah, I talk.
Hey, we're getting good at this, Bob.
You can count on me to keep talking.
That was my son calling me. He's in the same hotel. I'm sure he wants me to have a Bloody Mary with him right now or
Nice.
something. My son, Steven.
Tell me.
Anyway,
We
we're
do
calling
have
everybody out. So I don't know what you were saying while I was gone, but I don't really care what you were saying while I was
Right.
gone. But I
said
would
it's
like to
rule number
play.
one. Rule
Oh,
number one of podcasting is turn off your phone, dummy.
yeah, here, I got it. I did. I turned it off now. But we are going to play this. So this guy's name, and I have to read this name because it's so ridiculous. The only thing more ridiculous than his name is his hair, as you're about to see.
I don't think I've seen
Anand
him.
Giridharadas. Anand
wish I could see that
Giridharadas.
written out.
I'd hate to be one of their anchors and have to pronounce that guy's name every time that you introduce him as a guest because can't people, if you go on TV, just shorten your name to something like Barrett or Baxa.
Right, exactly.
All right, let's share this baby.
To USAID, Brooke Nichols, Boston University professor, mathematician, figured out what is the effect of this. They have a tracker, 300,000 deaths, according to a Boston University professor, because of the aid cut.
Pause right there for a second. Let me just interject. That was the concerned anchor noise. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. The noise she made, where she doesn't even push back at all. She just goes, and she agrees with the guy.
As
The
he's
most
holding it up like
idiotic-
there's an app,
Yeah.
like there's an
something
app
on his
here.
phone. Look, my
This
phone
thing
says-
calculates how many people Trump and Musk have killed so far.
Yes, it's so idiotic, man.
That's ridiculous.
They are so stupid.
But
That is crazy,
like
man.
I said, was I not being honest when I said it? Nothing more ridiculous than that guy's hair. And what's funny is I could just do my hair up
looks
like
like,
that, and I could make it look stupid.
Remember, I'm Mr. Cold Miser. I'm Mr.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
he
Mr.
does.
Heat
Heat
Miser.
miser.
Heat
Heat
Miser
miser.
or Cold Miser. I forget
Yeah.
which one he looks like. But
Yeah.
yeah. So and the MSNBC host, as you heard, she just accepts it. He just makes an idiotic statement. Elon Musk has killed 300,000 people. And she, instead of saying, dude, I mean, let me give MSNBC a pointer. If you were a legitimate network, you would have been like, whoa, dude, hold on.
Yeah,
Back
where
up.
do you get that from?
Where are you? 300,000 deaths? You're saying Elon Musk is responsible for 300,000 people dead. Back up. Walk us through. How did he kill? Like, how did they die? How is that connected to Elon Musk? If I cut aid to some program, how can you possibly extrapolate that a person who dies a week later died because of the aid? Like, those would be questions that a journalist would answer. But of course, because it's an anti-Trump statement, the idiotic MSNBC host just lets it go and says, wow, that's crazy.
And part of the calculation, I'm pretty sure, is something like this. We were giving money for food to this country. Half of the money was taken by the thugs that run the country, and then a quarter of the money got to the food, right? So the assumption is that if we take away that 3/4 of the money goes to, or half the money goes to the thugs, and then part of the money ends up with the food, the assumption is that no one's going to feed these people, that they suddenly have, there's absolutely no other way, there's no other country that can help them out. They don't get aid from anybody else. So it's only up to the American public to feed the people in that country, and therefore they're going to die.
Correct.
I think that's the logic here.
And if you look into, Fox News had an article on this, and if you dig into the article, it turns out there's not 300,000 people dead. What this guy at Boston University, this mathematician, whatever the hell he is, he kind of projected what might happen in the future. So totally different. Saying, I can say if we don't cut down on drunk driving, there might be 30,000 people that might die from drunk driving accidents in the next 2 years. That's a little bit different statement than to say, I just looked outside and there's 20,000 people dead on the ground right now.
Right.
Their blood
Which is what
over
Bono
there.
did and what Giraduralopoulos did.
Yes. It's
Big
a
hair.
very different statement. They're such idiots, man. God.
Yep.
And the anchor just lets these stupid.
And they never
idiotic
pushed back
things
on that. I watched the whole segment. They never pushed back on it. They just all sat there like, should we just let that one go?
Push back is if,
and that was, of course, on Morning Schmo.
Right. And if Caroline Levitt said something like that, they would push back. If she said, we helped 300,000 people, they'd be pushing back like a mother effer on that.
Right.
Don't ever push
when you
back.
When you have a bunch of crosses that represent graves instead of actual graves, they have to push back really hard on that. But when you have an extrapolation of possible people who might eventually die at some point because of the aid.
Pushback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pushback. So apparently there's a woman who's the class president of MIT, and she came out to do a speech. I feel like this was the day before the actual, maybe it's like a 2-day graduation thing.
Yeah.
So there's day one, and then the actual walk on the stage is on day two. So her speech is on day one. She apparently handed in an approved speech to the administration. And then, of course, which is happening a lot now, she threw that out the window.
Right.
And she did a total anti-Israel speech.
And we're not going to play any of this because it's not even worth it. But she went on and on and on.
Correct. And it was all pro-Palestine, all anti-Israel. And from what I understand, there was a lot of Israeli students and, of course, Jewish students. And a lot of them got up and walked out. It was that bad.
Good for them.
And so these poor people had their graduation experience ruined by this stupid woman who has no clue what's going on. I mean, the way, first of all, and on this show, at least on this side of the screen on this show, on my side, we are pro-Israel all the way. As far as
I am too, Bob. Don't throw me out like that.
I just want to make sure. I don't want to speak for you. This is a very, very...
Steve's all of a sudden an anti-Semite just because he's on the wrong side of the show.
All right, so the whole show, Barrett and Baxa, is pro-Israel. They picked a fight. The Palestinians picked a fight. If you walk up to a really big guy at a bar and you punch him in the face and then he turns around and beats the shit out of you, don't come to me and be like, hey, look at all these injuries. It's like, hey, you punched him. Sorry, you shouldn't have punched him. So you attacked Israel. You should, now you're getting your ass kicked. I'm not saying it's not bad in Gaza. I'm sure it is. But don't attack countries that can kick your ass, and then you won't get your ass kicked by them later. That's what I say about it.
And here's a couple of things from me. Number one, I'm amazed that this woman is the president of the class of 2025. I mean, so this is a person that students apparently elected. I don't know how much they knew about her politics, but what I like, I guess, is that MIT said, you're not speaking at the real graduation. You're out. In fact, you're not even allowed to attend the real graduation. So I think she didn't even get to go to her graduation ceremony.
Well, that's good.
But I punched in just to see, the situation in Gaza. So this is an AI response from Google. Okay. And I basically just put in, what was the state of civil rights for women's rights in Gaza before this current conflict. Yeah. And here are just some of the things that it says. Palestinian laws often place women under the legal guardianship of men.
Correct.
Impacting their ability to make important decisions in various aspects of their life. Women face discrimination in areas like divorce, inheritance, child custody. So there's honor-based violence, which is basically when you disrespect your husband, they can be violent with you. There's dress code problems. Problems being in public. You can't drive cars. You can't drive motorcycles at all, which is odd. But you can't drive a car without your husband in the car or a man in the car. So they have restricted access to leisure activities. So apparently there's a ban on women being in a marathon in Gaza. I mean, so
absolutely,
this president of the class of 2025 is standing up for that activity. And I don't think if you, I wonder what her response would be if you questioned her about that. It'd probably be the usual left response, which is, I don't want to talk about that. That's not what we're talking about.
Right. Or Israel's doing a genocide. And I'm so glad you brought this up about women, because if you're trying to figure out which side you should be on in the Palestinian versus Israeli conflict, a very simple, I mean, if you care about women or you are a woman, I mean, a little girl born today in Israel can grow up to be literally anything she wants, anything she can dream of, including prime minister. I mean, there was a female prime minister in the 70s in Israel, Golda Meir. So,
we haven't even had a female president yet.
Right. So they're ahead of us on that. A woman can, a little girl born today can grow up to be anything she wants in Israel. A little girl born in the Palestinian territories, whatever the hell that even means, can maybe aspire to one day like outrank the family dog, but probably not. Like it'll probably be like husband, dog, son, wife, and then daughter, like at the bottom. So, I mean, it's easy to take a side as far as I'm concerned. Take the side that treats women like actual people.
Yeah. Well, it's just sad that in our country, at a college like MIT, and all the other colleges, you know, Harvard and Columbia, all of this, that this is the kind of thing that happens. And hopefully we'll turn a page on it and get past it, and this kind of stuff will change. But apparently it hasn't changed yet.
You're listening to Barrett and Baxa, Media Schmedia. Real stories, raw takes, and the slow, strange death of traditional media.
So, Steve, one of the things I always like to do is remind people that here on the Barrett and Baxa Media Schmedia podcast, our favorite charity is the Salvation Army. So everyone knows, I'm not going to go over the whole story, but everyone knows that the Salvation Army got me off drugs and really saved my life and helped me tremendously. So I just want to encourage you to please donate to the Salvation Army. And I also, and just, you know, the best way is probably just Google, how do I donate to the Salvation Army? satruck.org is another one they have, but it's easy to find. But I just want to quickly let you know that if someone in your family is suffering with drug addiction, or maybe it's you, all you have to do, in every big city, there's a Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center. So just hop on the internet, Google Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center. Get their phone number. Call them up. Someone's going to answer. Find out who the intake coordinator is. Call that guy up. Ask him if they have a bed, and get yourself into the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center. And if you want to get off drugs, they will help you get off drugs. So if you are suffering, or you know someone who is, that's how you do it. It's very simple. And please, whenever possible, donate to the Salvation Army. So just wanted to
we do love the Salvation Army. It's
yes,
our charity of choice. And the Barrett and Baxa podcast wouldn't be here without the Salvation Army.
Right.
Because it's kind of the thing. You getting off drugs is actually what brought us back together here, Bob.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
there you go.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to move on to more media schmedia portions of things. Joe Biden reared his head for the first time since the cancer diagnosis and since the Tapper book came out. Tapper and Alex somebody.
We don't know his name. Nobody does.
It's Alex something.
Yeah, we should probably find out that guy's name, but because it is kind of important, but I just don't care enough to know what his
I
name
don't care
is.
enough to know what his name is.
I think of Fake Tapper and that other guy.
Yep.
But this was some event, I guess, in Delaware. I don't know what the event was, but it was because Joe Biden said he comes to this event every year. The funny thing so the reporters started asking him questions, and of course they were suck-ass questions because these are reporters. I mean, there was no Steve Barrett there asking a real question. There was
one person did, but they let him slide on it. And of course he's whispering everything, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to hear. But this is him walking up to this gag.
All right, let's play that.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk
so we
about
can and whenever you want, Bob, I'll pause it and you can give me your reaction to it.
Okay. Good.
You look good. You look good.
Well, the prognosis is good. You know, we're working on everything. It's moving along. So I feel good.
Have you decided on your treatment options?
Yeah, we have, and they're underway, and all the folks are very optimistic.
And so you've started treatment.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to share what exactly that entails?
Well, it's all a matter of taking the pill. one particular pill. And for the next 6 weeks and then another one. And the expectation is we're going to be able to beat this. It's not in any organ. It's my bones are strong. I haven't penetrated, so I'm feeling good.
So I feel like everybody expects. Sorry.
I've done it all because I'm loyal. I do it every damn year at the very beginning. I never forget where I came from.
Okay, I'm pausing it right there because, and I'm going to leave it on this image because this is what Biden always does. He gets uncomfortably in the face of some little girl or a pretty young lady. Yes. And I mean, look at the way she asked, why is it important for you to come? And he takes the opportunity to get right in her face, probably with his like stinky old man breath. Right. And look at her. She's clearly uncomfortable. She's closing her eyes and she's recoiling from him.
Yes. He always does this. And what he's doing here, he's leaning in. He's like, because I'm loyal. Like he has this whole creepy mannerism where he's almost like he's being like super aggressive with his answer. All he had to do, if he wants to say it in a lighthearted way, just say, oh, because I'm loyal. But no, he has to lean in. He has to lean. Why
so close and so uncomfortably leaning. So if you're not watching on video, you ought to look at this clip somewhere online.
So weird, man.
And it's so creepy the way he leans in on her. All right, let's hit play again.
Go ahead.
That's why. I feel like everybody didn't know what to expect of you today, and then you get here and you're speaking powerfully. You look good. You're confident. What do you say to all those people? Don't.
Listen
no,
to
he's
this
not.
Guy.
Look at him. Look at the look on his face.
Man? Listen to this guy, sir. You came out here and you were doing handstands. I've never seen a man so handsome. I'm in shock. I'm heterosexual, but I want to make love to you because of how good looking you are. And sir, what do you say to some people? Think that you are the greatest human alive, but other people think that you are the greatest human that has ever lived. What do you say to those people? Like, could this guy kiss his fucking ass more? My God.
No, and they all are, except there's one question that's going to come up here, and and then that's going to get into something else we want to talk about. Don't count you out.
So lots of luck in the senior year.
Yeah, he always says that.
What has this been like for your family? Obviously, this is also an emotional time. This is the 10-year anniversary of your son, Bo's passing. You received this diagnosis just 2 weeks before that.
Right.
Well, we're all optimistic about the diagnosis. Matter of fact, one of the leading surgeons in the world is working with me. And he had diagnosed with the same exact thing 32 years ago. He's alive and well and doing very well. So we're optimistic.
Here comes the question.
And there's also been a lot of discussion recently about your mental and physical capabilities while you were in office.
You can see that. I'm mentally incompetent and I can't walk and I can beat the hell out of both of them.
Do you want to reply to any of those?
Right there. All right.
Okay,
so
we're going to stop that there.
Yes. So what he just said, the woman said, there's been a lot of questions about your mental acuity and your physical fitness for office. And he ain't trying to make a joke, failing. Joe Biden, you're not funny, dude. You're never funny. You're just creepy. But he's trying to make a joke and he says, well, you can see I can't walk and I'm incompetent and I can beat the hell out of both of them. That's the key right there. So first of all, you have to decipher what the hell he's even talking about because he just comes up. It's a total non sequitur. I can beat the hell out of both of them. Both of who? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? So clearly he is talking about the authors, Jake Tapper and the other guy. That's
Alex
obviously
something.
Right. Clearly but with Joe Biden, you have to like figure shit out. Like you have to sit there and try to decipher what he's even talking about. She asked you about your mental fitness. She didn't talk about the book. She never mentioned the book. No one is talking about the book. But of course, Joe Biden, because he's a mental case, he immediately says he's going to beat someone up physically. And this is the thing, this guy, I swear, I hate this guy.
He's done it before. He's done it before.
He's constantly talking about beating up men, physically beating up other men. If you remember in the 2016 thing against Trump, when did he run against Trump? In 2020.
Yeah, the when we were in high school line.
In 2020. And he said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. Joe, you're not beating the hell out of anyone, Joe. You're 100 years old. You have prostate cancer. You can't talk. You can't walk. And I'd be willing to bet when you were 18, you weren't beating the hell out of anyone.
No, he's probably getting his ass kicked.
Right. In my experience, the guys who beat the hell out of a lot of people generally didn't talk about beating the hell out of people. And the guys who talked a lot about it were generally not doing it. So I think you're full of shit, Joe.
I came from a high school experience and a middle school and even grade school experience where I jumped around a lot. I switched schools. Believe it or not, I switched schools 12 times in 13 years of primary education. So the first thing that I had to do when I'd get to any school was fight the bully. Right. Because somebody always wanted to beat me up, especially because I always wanted to talk to the girls, and that made all the boys mad. But I had two older brothers that used to just, like, on a given Friday afternoon, they're bored, let's throw rocks at Steve or chase him or beat him up or something. So I was always getting my ass kicked by my brothers all the time. But and so I had to fight all the time in school, but I was never the guy starting the fight. I was never walking in saying, well, I'll beat you up. Well, I'll beat your ass. It's so fake.
I envy you for having brothers who beat you up because they taught you how to fight. I had no brother. I only have a younger sister. So no one ever taught me how to fight. So I was kind of, really not very good at fighting. And that's the kind of thing that every young kid wants to be good at fighting. And there's always certain kids. And when I was, back in the 70s, it was like, can you take him? That meant, can you beat that kid up? And that was a big thing. Who can take who? At Lincoln School in Bergenfield, New Jersey, where I went to grammar school. But so I envy that you had brothers that beat you up. I think that was good for you. But I don't think Joe was ever beating anyone up. And he's constantly talking about beating people up. Like, dude, chill. You're an old.
It's like when you talk about how much you get laid, you don't get laid that much.
Exactly.
That's just the way it is.
If you meet some guy in a bar and he's telling you about all the crazy exploits he had in special forces, he had no exploits in special forces. Because here's the thing. Real special forces guys, when they're out in a bar, and if it comes up that they were in the military, they will lie to you and say, actually, I was just a computer clerk.
I fixed the truck.
I did. I saw no action. They will lie. They will lie to your face and tell you they were a mechanic and saw no action, because that's the kind of men they are. If a guy is bragging about his exploits, you can be 100% certain he had no exploits. And it's the same thing here with Joe Biden. He's full of shit, man.
All right, next up, Michelle Obama sort of stepped in it and imploded her own podcast a little bit this week and got a lot of criticism for something that we're about to show you. She was talking with Dr. Sharon Malone, which apparently is a friend of hers, I think an OBGYN or a women's health expert. So the whole podcast episode was about women's health. And a lot of people, man, got very angry with the way she referred to women's reproductive organs and the lady parts that apparently do something other than make babies. So let's play this and we'll talk about it afterwards.
All right.
Women's reproductive health is about our life. It's about this whole complicated reproductive system that does the least of what it does is produce life.
So that's what made everybody mad, is that it's the least of what that does. The least
of what a woman's reproductive system does is produce life. Well, then, if that's the least, what is the most important? I mean, is producing urine more important than producing life? What are we talking about here?
To me, that's like the best part of a woman. Guys can't do it.
Thing.
Men, I don't care how many surgeries you have, how much hormone you take. You can't make a baby and grow a baby inside of yourself. I mean, that makes a woman an absolute miracle.
There's a great comedian named Jim Gaffigan, and he said how women can grow a baby with their body, and then they can produce a baby with their body, and then they can feed a baby with their body. Meanwhile, men, the only contribution we make to the whole thing is by doing an act that we're doing on our own 30 times a week anyway. It's just a throwaway act. And it's he's right. He's pretty white. Women are a lot more important.
It's like the old Monty Python, Monty Python skit, you don't have a womb. You don't have a womb. But I want to fight for my right to make a baby if I wanted to make a baby.
Yeah, that.
But you can't make a baby.
Right. That was a weird thing for her to say. I wanted,
I think that's something that she wishes maybe she would have said a lot differently.
Probably. And her podcast is, I hate to promote another podcast, but we're clearly better than she is. Her podcast is kind of fascinating. Matt Walsh uses clips from her all the time, and I'm a huge Matt Walsh fan. But this woman, this was a former First Lady of the United States. This is a woman who's worth $70 million. She has a mansion in Hawaii, a mansion in Washington, and I'm pretty sure they have a mansion somewhere in like in Boston or something. So this woman has multiple mansions. She's flying on private jets around the world, and she's just unbelievably unhappy. Like, this woman has everything going for her. And every time you hear her speak, she's bitching about the patriarchy. She's bitching about the attention paid to Barack Obama. She clearly hates Barack Obama. That's obvious. There's a lot of rumors that they're getting divorced. If you listen to her talk, she is not a fan of Barack Obama. Like, every time she speaks of him, she says something negative. And it just really, it makes
You don't do that with your best girl.
No, I love my best girl. Everything about her is fantastic. It's really true. I have no complaints about her at all. I know she has many about me, but that's for a different show. We don't need to.
I like to tell my wife that eventually I'm going to get you on the podcast and we're going to hash it out. We're going to hash out the things that bug me.
I wonder, I don't know that.
Like not letting me sleep at night. She's one of those that crawls all over. She's sideways in the bed by morning.
My best girl does yell at me a lot for things like what was the thing she did? I'll throw this one thing in. We were in a store. We're in Walmart and we're looking for a particular product. So we're kind of in the general area of where the product, like similar products are around here, but she's wanting to find one particular thing. So I was like, hey, look over here, trying to help. And she gets mad at me and she yelled at me because I wasn't, quote, letting her think. So I was interrupting her thinking by pointing out that there was a product similar to what she was looking for. So that's not if your girl is looking for something, you must stand by quietly. You're not allowed to talk because then you wouldn't be letting her think. So
the one I get a lot, Bob, is the shouting from the other side of the house, something like, "Honey, where do you want me to put this?"
Oh, right.
What? I'm in the bedroom. You're in the kitchen. How am I possibly supposed to know what it is that you're referring to right now? When you say she does it all the time, all the time. As long as we're on pet peeves, let's do some pet peeves.
Right.
Then we'll get out for the day because I got more to do than hang out with you, dude.
Today's Julia's birthday.
I know it's Julia's birthday. Happy birthday, Julia.
Go ahead. You go first.
All right. One of my pet peeves, it reminded me being in a hotel, is shampoos and conditioners. So I have to wear reading glasses. I cannot, and I hate contacts. And so you really don't wear contacts anyway in the shower. Why is it that the shampoo companies put the shampoo and conditioner in the identical bottle, and then the word that you need to know to identify the shampoo from the conditioner is the smallest possible word in fine print, and you can't possibly read it when you're in the shower. So you're constantly grabbing the conditioner and putting it out and going, no, that's conditioner, and then you waste the conditioner. So I think that's why they do it.
Similar. I mean,
they look exactly the same.
Necessarily tell from
except for one word. Like the bottle's the same color, it's the same shape.
Even the physical product, when you pour it out, I don't know if you can even tell that quickly that it's shampoo or conditioner. Like
I think they do it on purpose so that you waste more of it, so that you buy more of it.
Right.
All right, my other pet peeve, quickly.
Go ahead.
Why do we have in parking lots these drive up, like order online parking spots? Right up, like they're right up there at the front of the store. Number one, no one uses them. Anybody who does use them anymore, I mean, I feel like it's like, oh, I can't go to the store because COVID. Right. You know, I'm going to wear a mask in my car as I drive alone, to the store, and I'm going to use that parking spot. But there's always like 16 of these parking spots. They're completely empty at all times, and they're right there next to the handicap spots. And even if people did do that, can't the employee walk a little bit further so that the customer that needs to come in the store doesn't have to walk as far? It's not like you're inconveniencing the customer because the customer's just parking in that spot, right?
Right.
Man, so that bugs the hell out of me when I see
those are good ones. Okay,
Target's bad at it.
They have a lot of those spaces. All right, my first one is not so much a pet peeve, but it's just an observation about news anchors. We've both worked with news anchors for all our lives. So I've noticed in all my time with news anchors that there are two different noises that every news anchor must know how to make in order to be a successful news anchor. Now, the first noise is called an interested anchor noise. It's or an IAN, an IAN. Now, this noise would come after an upbeat story. So if you have a fun story, like kids put together a lemonade stand and they made $500, and the package would run about the kids, and then it would be an upbeat thing, and the kids took their money and they bought new uniforms. And then it comes back to the anchor. The anchor then has to go like this. That's the interested anchor noise.
With the head bob.
They have to go like, all right. And then the opposite of the interested anchor noise is called the can. That's the concerned anchor noise, also known as a SAN, which is a sad anchor noise. Now, this comes after a very tragic story. So let's say a school bus crashes over a cliff, and the reporter's doing the story and the package, and the bus went over the cliff, and all 37 children were tragically killed. And it comes back to the anchor, and the anchor has to go like this. That's the sad anchor noise. Now, you must be able to do both of those noises in order to be a successful news anchor. And in fact,
if you're only listening, there's a different, Bob's got a different head bob for each. Yes. It's sort of a head straight down bob, and then there's kind of an angled bob for the sad.
Right.
For the
so
can.
I think I could be an anchor. I know how to read off of a teleprompter, and I know how to make the two noises. Now, the pet peeves I have many Trucker Bob pet peeves. I'll just do a couple today. I probably have 100. But people are constantly doing things in front of my truck that puts their life at risk. Here's the thing. If you do something crazy and in front of a truck and the truck smashes into you, you're going to die. He is going to not be injured. Okay, his truck will have slight damage in the front. Your car will be demolished. Your entire family will be dead. He will not be injured. So you're doing some dumb shit, and then you're saying, hey, can you please become extremely stressed out and take like incredible evasive actions to avoid me getting killed, but you getting no injury whatsoever? And one of them is if you see a truck coming, like you're on a side street, you're about to pull onto a main road, and there's a truck coming down, maybe a hill. It's very hard for him to stop when he weighs 80,000 pounds. Please don't pull out in front of the truck and then go slow. You've caused that guy a tremendous amount of stress when you pull out in front of a truck. The other thing is the acceleration lane on a highway. People are very confused about the acceleration lane. If you're coming onto a highway, it's called an acceleration lane because you're supposed to accelerate up to the speed on the highway. And I'm driving in the right lane. I'm doing 70. The speed limit is 70. There's a car coming up on the ramp to get onto the highway. And we're coming together. And I can see the guy's face is getting panicked. Now, all you have to do in that situation is step on the gas and accelerate and get in front of me. Trust me, I want you to go in front of me. But the cars start panicking. I can see the guy's panicking, and then the guy will like slam on his brakes, and then he like gets behind me and speeds around and starts cursing at me like I've done something wrong. Just accelerate in front of the truck. It's not that hard. So there are my two Trucker Bob pet peeves.
Because you drive a very, very heavy truck.
My truck is always, I'm either
loaded to the pound.
I'm fully loaded, 80,000 pounds, or I'm empty, and that's 26,000. So when I'm fully loaded, it's very dangerous.
Do not cut Bob off. Well, there's a famous story down in South Florida where someone cut off a trucker driving a BP gas truck. And a train, he was trying to cross train tracks. Car cuts him off, gets in front of him, so he can't get all the way across the train tracks. He's in the middle of a construction zone, so he can't go anywhere. Starts slamming into other cars trying to get that out. And that guy, the guy who cut him off, died too when the train hit the thing and it blew up and it killed like 8 people down in like the Fort Lauderdale area.
Did something dumb and he caused his own death by doing that dumb thing. So just please be aware of trucks. And, the guy's at work. He's a truck driver. He's a blue collar guy. He's just trying to make a living. Try to give him a break and maybe not get in his way if you could possibly do so. So that's my,
all right.
public service for all the truck drivers. And I think that brings us to the end of today's episode.